Alright, welcome back. So, I want to talk a little bit about just 3.0 in general and how I feel like this patch and the ones following it are really going to make or break Honkai Star Rail. Before we get into it, if you go on to enjoy this video, liking and subscribing really does help me out a lot. And if you want a place to talk about everybody's favorite game, consider joining the Express Train Discord server at the link down below. But enough yapping, let's just get into it. So I ran a poll a few days ago asking you guys about how you felt about Amphoreus, and I got about 450 votes, which I appreciate you guys voting on. The results kind of surprised me. While a lot of people were excited, it was much closer than I expected. While 64 said yes, they were excited, some did seem a little bit skeptical about how Honkai Star Rail is going. I think it's no secret that people aren't really the happiest with the game at the moment, and even if we look at the Google Trends, you can see these numbers that they're slowly dwindling. But I think those numbers can really go back up if they do some of the things that I'm going to talk about today. I think if Amphoreous addresses the following issues and fixes them, we could have one of the best eras in the game's lifespan. First thing I want to talk about is the story. This section will contain story spoilers for up to Penacony, so be warned. While I do not believe that Honkai Star Rail is a story-based game, the story is definitely very important to it. And I think that they really need to deliver on the story in 3.x. For me personally, nothing has been able to top the end of Belobog. The Cocolia fight and hearing Wildfire playing in the background for the first time is just something that nothing has been able to top so far. The Xianzhou Lofu was quite decent, it did have memorable moments, such as when Don Hung split the sea like Moses, and that was really about it. Going into Penacony, I gave up on the game's story. The amount of talking and dare I say, yapping increased significantly, and I think that if you make a story that long, then it should be meaningful. But a lot of Penacony was not meaningful, and the ending in 2.3 was extremely underwhelming. Those stories could have easily been cut down to about 2 hours or so, but you know, Amphoreous needs that player attention. If your story is not worth 6 hours of being told, then do not make it 6 hours long. Going back to Xianzhou, we had some good moments, but nothing crazy besides Yanchen getting some actual character development. But in the last two patches of 2.6 and 2.7, the story quality took a massive nosedive. I want you guys to think of something. Somebody had to write down the idea for this story, get it approved, write the script, get it greenlit, send it to the studio to get voiced, animate the 3 different poses that the characters use, reuse an animation that they've done before, and then put it all in a nice 6-hour long bow. I will never forgive Honkai Star for making the Rappa quest. That was unironically worse than the Fontaine prison arc and the R&R quest in Genshin combined. I really think they need to massively step up their game if they want to keep the players happy. I'm already not the biggest fan of the story, but I'm hoping 3.x that can turn it around and maybe I'll like it again. But I am a little bit worried about how much they're leaning into Honkai Impact 3rd to sell the story. I don't like Honkai Impact 3rd, I think the game is mad boring. But I feel like they have characters like Final and Cyrene who are basically copy and paste from characters from that game, and they're going to try to use that to sell them. I hope that they are their own standalone thing because we've had scenes like with the Acheron name drop where she's like, I'm Raiden something May, and I was like, yeah, okay, you guys are trying way too hard. The devs did say you would not have to play Honkai Impact to understand it, but who says they aren't lying to us? Anyways, I just hope they don't have to rely on that to make the story good, and make a good story free of yapping, and have it worth listening to. Or what they could do is simply add a skip button. It's in Zenless Zone Zero. It's in Honkai Impact. There is no reason why it shouldn't be in Honkai Star Rail. Making somebody sit through a 6-hour story of nothing is not going to make them like the story. But for some reason, that's a controversial take. Anyways, next thing should sound like a no-brainer, but I think Amphoreous needs to do it. And that is, give us more content. We've had next to no content for a while now. Hell, even Zenless Zone Zero has more content in 1.5 than pretty much anything we've gotten in all of Penacony. I really do think we're going to get more, and I genuinely hope so, as these last patches have been some of the most boring the game has ever been. I know this isn't supposed to be a main game, but man, it kinda sucks logging in and having pretty much nothing to do for 40 days. This game makes tens of millions of dollars a month. I'm just saying. They can give us more stuff to do. And this would also make it so rewards would be a little bit less tight. I'm not trying to sound greedy here, but honestly it's kind of ridiculous how little the rewards are versus what you need. Not even being able to guarantee one of the 8 banners, even as a light spender, is ridiculous. Moving on to more character-focused things I think HSR needs. First off, I want to see some more unique character kits. There's been a few characters now, such as Yunli and Lingsha, who have had a very similar counterpart and almost felt kinda lazy. They clearly have ideas as we can see them in Simulated and Divergent Universe, so why not turn some of those into characters? Also, something I hope they do not continue to do is making characters who are pretty much only best in slot with one character. For example, I think Jiao Cho pretty much only being best in slot for Acheron was extremely disappointing, and I hope in the future they make more characters that are not that strict and are much more universal and best in slot in multiple teams. But moving on from that, the next thing I want to talk about is the power creep and the game balancing. It has really not been the best in recent patches. It's absolutely ridiculous how even if all the stars align for older characters to perform, the new ones can ignore all of that and just steamroll the entire game. This is an issue that needs to be addressed very bad. It is not on the player base that fix power creep, it is on the company. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's getting any better. The Herda and Aglaya have showed me that Hoyoverse decided to throw game balance out the window. It will just increase numbers while leaving their old characters in the dust. While there has been some nice buffs to old units such as Sunday Witch and Yuan, indirect buffs like that are always a double-edged sword. While it might help an old unit, it's going to buff a newer one much better. I hope we can maybe see some direct buffs to characters at some point during this patch, because at this rate, the 2.x characters are going to fall off, and they're going to fall off hard. They really need to fix that. And as per the HP inflation, it's ridiculous, but honestly, I'm kind of tired of talking about it now. I've made videos before, everybody has made videos on HP inflation. You know that is a problem, you know that it's bad. So I'm hoping, going forward, they decide to slow it down a bit, or maybe just prevent it by adding interesting mechanics, which I'm hoping they do, because the new bosses and stuff do seem pretty interesting, so I'm excited to see how they handle it. And last but not least, the final thing I want to see is very simple. Listen to the community and take feedback and implement it into the game. Hoyoverse doesn't seem like they listen to us anymore, and it's honestly kind of sad. It seemed like they used to listen to us with things such as changing the way planners work and how you farm them in Simulated Universe, but other than that, there hasn't been much since. This game is not flawless, it has many issues that need to be addressed, and I'm hoping that listening to the community is going to be a step in the right direction for that. I know the Hoyo fans are going to hate me when I make this comparison, but Wuthering Waves has a very dedicated player base, and they always seem very happy, and that's for a reason. It's because they have the knowledge that Kuro Games will actively listen to the players and implement changes that the community asks for. I think if they listened and took feedback outside of CN, we would have a much better experience, and the player would be more willing to spend money. And what does Hoyoverse want? Money, money, money. It's a win-win, honestly. The company gets more money, and the player base is happy. I think if they really want to make these next few patches good, they absolutely will. But you know, even if it's a pile of dookie, there's still always going to be the Hoyo Knights who will eat it up no matter what. I just hope the game I loved turns around and makes it a great time to play Honkai Star Rail. That's all I want to talk about today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments, what do you want to see in 3.0 and the patches following it? I would love to hear your thoughts. Also, if you're seeing this video the day that it goes live, January 14th, Amphoreus drops in a couple of hours. I will be streaming it live here on YouTube, playing the story, pulling for Fish House Light Cone, and checking out the new planet. So please come say hi if you want to see me suffer through the Yap Fest. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Express Train Discord server at the link down below, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.